We all have the same problem. Our backlog looks like this, and I'm very sorry to say that after this video it's probably even bigger, because I'm here to tell you about the 10 most overlooked games of 2025. What game do you think flew under the radar? Let us all know in the comments. Alright, let's go. Let's kick things off with Fretless, The Wrath of Riftson. This is a beautiful RPG about music. You equip your character with different instruments, like an acoustic guitar or bass, modify them with new strings, pickups and more, and fight monsters in rhythmic turn-based combat. The customization is surprisingly deep and allows for completely different playstyles, and the combat itself is just perfect. You collect riffs that all do something different in battle, like attacking and healing. Every riff requires you to learn its timing, because if you nail it, attacks get stronger, healing is more efficient, that kind of stuff. It's simply so much fun, and even though this is a rather linear game, areas are full of secrets, optional puzzles and treasures like new riffs, which makes exploration worth your time. The music is brilliant, the humor is great, characters are charming, and everything just feels like it was made with love. Honestly, this is one of my favorite games of the year and one of the best indie games I've played in years. I think Fretless deserves way more attention because the devs nailed just about everything, and with around 10 hours playtime, it definitely respects your time. Try this, you won't regret it. If one game surprised me this year, it's Mandraura. Not because it does something truly unique or special, but because it's a well-crafted, down-to-earth side-scrolling RPG that did not bore me 1 second. You create your own character, choose one of 6 classes, and experience a simple yet gripping story about a world in decline, with a dose of political drama. Now, the refund starts when you get tons of loot with many different stats, and unlock the 5 classes you didn't choose in the beginning. The result is a deep and highly satisfying gear and skill progression system that allows for surprisingly complex builds and offers the freedom to play as you want. The fact that you can hold one weapon in each hand and even switch to a secondary pair makes combat feel dynamic and therefore more intense. Oh yeah, and in combat itself you can do all the great stuff like blocking, parrying, dodging, casting spells, and so on. And again, every playstyle is viable. Playing this I felt like there's no wrong choice of class combinations, gear and skills. Everything is deadly, and so is the world. But it's also beautiful thanks to the hand-drawn art style, and most importantly, super fun to explore. Behind every corner there are hidden paths, secrets to find, loot to collect, and optional bosses to fight. It's almost ridiculous how big and rich this world is. So ultimately, everything just works great together and is designed to keep you going constantly. Personally, I just couldn't stop playing. So yeah, Mandraura is really overlooked, and I highly recommend this game if you like challenging RPGs with deep and fun mechanics. It's definitely one of my favorite games of the year. This year's award for most addicting game goes to Ball X Pit, without a question. At first the premise is simple: throw balls at the enemies. Doing that earns you XP, which levels you up, which makes you stronger and lets you choose new special balls, and so on. But it gets more complex. Finding synergies between special balls is key, and making use of the fusion system where 2 balls combine their powers is essential. Maybe not as essential as hitting that funny subscribe button, but you get the idea. Then there are items for additional effects, evolutions where 2 balls create something completely new, and most importantly, a ton of characters, all with their own unique twist. There's one that mirrors every ball thrown, one that shoots balls from the other side of the screen, and one that makes balls go through enemies, and so many more. And this is where the deeply satisfying meta progression comes in. Characters level up and get stronger. You can use them to build a little town to farm for materials and build houses. They not only unlock new characters, but also further enhance your stats. After you beat a level, you unlock the next one, which comes with new enemies and is more difficult. So now you repeat the whole thing. Try to beat it, fail, try it again, unlock more characters, level up, and so on. It all sounds weird on paper, I know, but it actually works, and it's so incredibly addicting. If you're looking for a mindless game you can play for like 30 minutes every day, go with Ball X Pit, it's unbelievably fun. I'm not really a big fan of Ender Lilies, but the sequel Ender Magnolia is easily one of the best Metroidvanias I've played in years. That's because it keeps the focus on its unique mechanics while keeping just the right things simple. The combat itself is centered around equipping different spirit skills from enemies you've defeated. and each one feels meaningful and viable, so there's a real sense of experimentation. I constantly found myself switching out skills to try new builds, and the variety is huge. You've got fast melee spirits, range magic ones, big heavy hitters, defensive tools. There's so much to play with. And since you can unlock different versions of the same spirit skill that play super differently, you get loads of options to approach combat, so it never really gets boring. The movement is incredibly fluid, with air dashes and parries that make you feel super agile as you explore. Oh, and the exploration feels awesome, as there are tons of secret paths to uncover and items to find that are actually useful. All of this results in a balanced and perfect mix of combat, exploration and fun platforming, which means the devs absolutely nailed the Metroidvania formula. And if this wouldn't already be enough, the graphics and music create a dense and gloomy atmosphere that immerses you in a dangerous world I just didn't want to leave. And Magnolia is very straightforward in its game design, skips on the fancy stuff and just does the things it does extremely confident and well. If you play just one Metroidvania this year, it should be Magnolia. This game reminded me why I love playing indie games so much, because it's one of the most unique ones I've played in a while. Keep Driving is a management RPG, which is super rare nowadays, and it's all about a giant road trip through the country. The challenge is how you get from point A to point B. You need to keep an eye on energy, fuel, car damage and your money, but also obstacles along the way, like slow driving trucks, groups of sheep, fallen trees and much more. These obstacles are turn-based battles that basically play out like a puzzle, where your skills need to match the symbols at the bottom of the screen. On the way, you can pick up hitchhikers that add new skills, take a day job for extra money, shop for resources, upgrade your car, and so much more. This may sound a bit weird, but it totally works. One of the most important elements is the superb soundtrack, which only contains songs that perfectly fit the road trip feeling and create a vibe that is a beautiful mix of relaxation and freedom. It's actually kind of hard to explain, but all this creates such a unique and intriguing vibe that made me want to keep playing and never stop. Look, the only negative thing I could say about Keep Driving is that I wish that you got more additional mixtapes sooner, but that's just a small complaint, and only shows that I love the music in this game. Honestly, if you're looking for your next cozy game, please give this one a go. It's an incredible game. 2025 had some great co-op hits like Split Fiction, Peak and Arc Raiders, but the most underrated by far is Biped 2. It's the same concept established in the first game, and it's still so much fun. The gameplay gimmick is that both players control one cute robot, and each stick controls one of its legs. So managing that becomes one continuous and hilarious pain, and results in some of the funniest situations I've ever had in a video game. That way you have to solve physics-based puzzles and actually work together in basically every single situation. Some levels test your brain, others your skill, and every single one of them is designed brilliantly. What's new in the sequel is that you can play with up to 4 players, either locally or online. That also means the level design changes depending on the amount of players, because puzzles and challenges have to adapt to the player count. And since you can also play this solo, you basically have a total of 68 levels. For me, Biped 2 is simply one of the best co-op games of this year, and I think it's one of the most overlooked ones too. Give this one a go if you're looking for a fun time with your friends. Constance was my most anticipated Metroidvania for over 2 years now, and I'm super happy that it's so good that I can recommend it to you today. While Constance may take inspiration from Hollow Knight and Celeste, it does have its own identity and ideas. The main gameplay twist is that Constance uses paint as a resource for actions like dashes and her special attack. That means for combat as well as for platforming, you can just button mash to succeed. You have to be careful, calm and plan your next move wisely in order to beat the boss or a platforming challenge. Honestly, this mechanic feels a bit weird at first, but I get used to it and I think it adds a sense of urgency and pressure that makes combat and platforming really tense. Constance is a little bit weak on the Metroidvania aspect, and it's definitely a tiny bit too short with something between, 6 to 9 hours, but the platforming is absolutely beautiful. It's designed super creatively, movement is snappy, and overall, this feels extremely satisfying. So much so that I think the movement and platforming are by far the best aspects of this game. Constance also deals with topics like depression, anxiety, and burnout beautifully, and actually hit really hard considering it only took me 6 hours to beat the game. Constance is definitely a hidden gem, and one of the best Metroidvanias of this year. Do yourself a favor and give this one a chance. Another game you might never have heard of before is Wheel World, even though it's a super fun game. In Wheel World, you have a bicycle and with that race other cyclists. Yeah, pretty straightforward, but of course, there's more to that. Winning races rewards you with new parts for your bike, like tires, pedals and stuff. And they actually change your stats like speed, acceleration, grip and more. The result is a super simple yet really satisfying gameplay loop, especially because changing parts does make a noticeable difference. That way every race can feel different. Whenever you're not racing other cyclists, you explore the open world, which is also full of side activities and parts to find. And it's a great way to give you some space in between races. To be quite honest, Wheel World feels a bit janky here and there, especially when it comes to collisions and to tell you what to do next in the campaign, but as long as you're not as dumb as me sometimes, you'll be fine. Wheel World is an unusual game, which makes it refreshing and definitely worth your time. LEGO Voyagers actually feels a lot like Biped 2. It's a 2-player co-op game with cute characters and a top-down perspective. And because it's LEGO, the main gameplay mechanic is that you can attach LEGO pieces to your character and place them somewhere. That way you and your friend can build bridges and platforms to reach places you couldn't otherwise reach. While most puzzles are pretty easy to understand, it's the execution and coordination that make the challenge, and this definitely makes for some hilarious moments. The physics are intentionally off a bit, at least I think that's the case, but that's exactly what creates these fun moments. The only thing I wish would be better is that more puzzles or set pieces require each player to actually do something different than the other. But other than that, I had a great time and I highly recommend this to everyone who's looking for more things to play with their partner or friends. I'm pretty sure you have a great time. Now we talk about one of the most challenging and most charming games of the year. Is This Seat Taken is a puzzle game in which it's all about placing cute geometric characters in the right spot. The thing is, each character has specific needs, like not sitting next to a specific character or sitting in the back of a boat or having a clean seat and all sorts of things. So finding the perfect combination can get extremely difficult. I mean, at its core, it's a logic game, which means that this might not be difficult at all for you. But the last couple of levels really challenged me, and that's great because, man, this is on the same level as Baba as you. Anyway, levels offer some great variety because sometimes you have to interact with the environment to solve the puzzle. In the stadium, for example, some characters like to sit and others to stand up, so you have to fold the seats up or down. Overall, this is just pure bliss and a nice way to tease your brain a little. Check this out, you can't go wrong with Is This Seat Taken? So what games did you add to your list of games you want to play, and did I show you some you've never heard of? Then hit subscribe to never miss out on great indie games and JRPGs. Alright, thanks so much for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.